I can just
Okay.
yeah.
So first of all, let's start with who are you,
I'm Jordan Ulrich.
and what's your position with Peguis?
I'm the Peguis Chief Financial Officer.
And who are you? You say you're a Peguis band member.
Yes, I am.
Can
yeah.
you tell us who your parents and background is and your connection to Peguis?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm a Peguis band member. I never had the opportunity to grow up on the reserve due to my mom being scooped when she was a young child. She was taken off reserve at 2 years old. Since then, in my young adulthood, I've had the opportunity to come and meet many of my family members. I often like to say my claim to fame is my uncle is Tudeman Flet. So I do come from the Flet clan from my mom's side. And my mom has had the opportunity now to meet her brother Tudeman as well, and many of her other family members as well. What else?
So Tudeman's your
Uncle.
your uncle.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So my mom's maiden name is Flet.
Yeah.
And we've since been very involved in our community. I've been working in and out of our nation for many years. So going as far back as 7 or 8 years ago when I started as controller for Peguis First Nation. So I do feel like I've gotten to know many of our members, and I have great relationships with the many that I do know, and I look forward to meeting many more. It does feel like a place of home for me when I'm in Peguis. I'm still trying to get land, still trying to get a home up on the reservation, but it's hard to come by.
Yeah. So do you work out of Winnipeg office here most of the time? Or?
I'm primarily working out of 1075 Portage, our urban reserve here for
Right.
Peguis. But I do come to Peguis as often as I can, and there's so much work, so it's kind of wherever warrants me most location-wise is where I'll be to achieve the many business matters I need to tend to. I'm going to go through everything like in alphabetical order as per my to-do list.
Okay.
So everything I'm working on behalf of membership as a public servant of our members, I will go through. So first thing on the list alphabetically is Assiniboine Downs. I'll be honest, my personal goal is to see our band monies and funding and trust monies and everything used properly and efficiently and generate solid returns for our members. So Assiniboine Downs is not one of those things. We have about $20 million just sitting in the land out west there with no return, no economic benefit derived for our members for many, many years, as we all know. So I'm making it a very clear goal to see our membership get that money back. And so obviously that's going to involve a lot of legal counsel, but I would like to see us eventually have that money returned so we can put it to work for us again and utilize it properly. So with that, right now where we're at exactly with Assiniboine Downs is leadership is looking at who exactly they want to be the lead legal counsel on that matter regarding the arbitration, regarding the settlement, regarding how to actually obtain that money out of this deal properly and securely. So it's still in the legal analysis phase of who we want to take that on. Regarding the audit, so we have completed our March 31st, 2023 audit. That has recently been signed off by council. It's now going off into the hands of Indigenous Services Canada and the many other stakeholders that require that audit. If it's not posted online, it should be posted within a matter of a few business days, hopefully. So that's about a year later, but it's nice to have that completed now. And we had four primary qualifications on our audit that we believe 3 of those 4 can be taken off in this upcoming fiscal year. We have an audit planning meeting with the auditors tomorrow here at 1075 Portage, in which we're going to plan the March 31st, 2024 audit and exactly outline the strategy how to rid ourselves of these qualifications that are hindering our financeability, hindering our progress with the First Nations Financial Management Board, and the FMS certification, it's called, Financial Management Certification. So we are we're ready to roll we're making good time in even starting the new upcoming audit. It should not take this a full year long to complete the new upcoming year audit. So things are looking well on the audit front. Regarding BFI, obviously one of the hottest topics for our nation. Where to start? So one of the reasons that it might seem that we've been a little slow to advance things towards an eventual settlement with PwC, who is the receiver of the BFI claim, so is primarily just due to new leadership getting a grasp on all the files and then the change in legal counsel. So leadership has changed our legal counsel from TDS, which was primarily Jamie Kagan, to our new legal counsel of Cascadia, which our primary lawyer on that is John Galis. So John Galis of Cascadia is our lead legal counsel on basically every front right now. And that transition takes time. There's a transition of all files from lawyer to lawyer. There's settlements of their outstanding invoices. These things take a tremendous amount of time. There was even some dispute on what the final bill is owing to TDS. So that's finally been resolved. We've reached a settlement and we're about to get the remaining files over from TDS. And now in the new direction of John Galis with Cascadia, he's done a tremendous job as well of taking on all these legal fronts. We do trust John very much. And so yeah, we are
That was the people that presented in Selkirk.
That's right. So John was the lawyer that presented in Selkirk band meeting. He is leading the charge now on getting all the information from all the various sources of all our legal fronts and getting up to speed. We are outlining strategies for all our legal fronts right now with leadership. Chief and counsel are assessing everything. Like I say, we're about to receive the remaining files over from TDS. And we do thank Jamie Kagan for that again, for sending that over shortly. And that'll arm us with everything we need to pursue our strategies. So with BFI, there's right now, leadership's going to announce shortly, I'm sure, what our actual concrete strategy is. And everyone will see that shortly. Just due to the legalities of it all, I probably can't I can't outline the exact strategy at this time, but I can assure membership it's very exciting. We're very confident in en route to a settlement with PwC and even just a few other aspects of that strategy coming shortly. What else regarding BFI? We are so regarding BFI specifically, so John Galis of Cascadia is our main lawyer. He's our main legal counsel for the nation. However, John Galis, at his recommendation, has and with leadership's acceptance of this, we've also retained Castles Brock LLP, primarily Jeffrey Oliver he goes by. He's another lawyer of Castles Brock, and he will be taking the lead on BFI specifically, with John working with him. So Jeffrey's a litigator at heart and by trade, and so he will be the one representing us in an actual litigation. And we're gonna pursue every angle possible. Let's just say that for now, to protect our nation as best as we can, led by again Jeffrey Oliver and John Galis.
What were some of the questions that band members were asking at the community meeting in Selkirk? I know you asked a lot of good questions.
Yeah, so some of the questions primarily were at the band meeting in Selkirk that band members were asking was, how did this even happen? How was this even signed? Just basically, who was at the helm when this got signed? All that stuff. Why would anyone let this happen? Things of that nature. So one of the things I sort of shared at the band meeting in Selkirk was, it appears that Doug, how do I say all this?
How did it transpire?
Yeah, how did the BFI loan transpire?
Yeah. And then we know that there was a lot of scenarios and circumstances that happened that involved you leaving First Nation. Yeah. And can you explain to the band members why you left?
Sure. Yeah. So I left the nation, employment with the nation at that time, primarily due to my disagreement on the BFI loan being signed. Now I'm not leadership. I wasn't leadership then. I'm still not leadership now. So I don't have that final say. Mm-hmm. I did make my case to leadership that I don't believe this loan is good for Peguis. I did inform them of obviously the high interest rate. It was very, very high. and that we were actively pursuing other financing options. That being said, the decision still rests with leadership, of course, according to our policies and things at that time. At least I think the policies stated that. But no, I did not sign the BFI loan. I did inform them not to sign. And, again, I wasn't part of every closed door meeting with leadership at that time, though. I was not the chief financial officer of that time. I was the finance director. We were without a chief financial officer. In fact, my finance director position reported to the chief operating officer position, which was held by Anita Wilson at the time. So primarily a lot of what I could or could not do had to flow through the chief operating officer at that time. Now I'm the chief financial officer, and I have a direct reporting with chief and council, and I'm able to utilize that well as a CPA, and I am happy to report chief and council right now under the leadership of Chief Bird are absolutely adhering to every single recommendation I make from a professional accounting perspective. Chief Bird won't even ask, he won't even get himself paid a $40 PO for lunch without asking me. It's actually quite remarkable. It's the sign of a new direction for our nation.
That's incredible. What kind of policies or procedures have been put in place to prevent something like that from happening again?
Right. So prevent something like that from happening again, meaning the signing of the BFI loan agreement.
Yeah.
Yeah. So again, do I wish we had a chief financial officer in place at that time? Yes, I do. I wish we had a chief financial officer at that time with fiduciary signing responsibility on all loan agreements. So which we do have now, which is wonderful. We didn't at that time, or at least that role was vacant. So yeah, I'm not exactly sure how necessarily that deal got signed, obviously, as we all know, by leadership at the time. But
did they know what they were signing?
Did every member of council know what they were signing? I can't speak for every member. I can certainly say that I do believe many members of council did not have the educational experience nor the financial wherewithal to understand a loan agreement of that nature. In fact, I could say that about all of them. None of them are qualified to read the language. It is definitely a different language. Accounting and finance is a different language. So none of them understand the language of that. It would have been primarily relied upon trust of who was presenting that loan agreement to them. Mm-hmm. And whereas I did not have that same level of trust, not only for the broker or the lending institution, but also the actual document before me, of which I understand the language. Mm-hmm. The language did not make sense to me. It did not appear to be a fair lending agreement. It did not appear to be a lending agreement which Peguis could afford to sustain payments on. If cash flow is everything, and it is, there was a lot, even the interest payments alone, I knew firsthand we were not in a position as a band to sustain interest payments of that nature once they kicked in. So
your advice was not to go ahead with it?
I infamously had it sent to them in a memo that it's become a very I'm thankful that I still have that memo, but it says in verbatim, absolutely do not accept this loan. This loan would truly sink Peguis.
And is that why you left? Did you choose to leave?
I had a baby on the way, our first baby on the way, my wife and I knew that I was going to be taking parental leave very shortly, so I left in the sense of leaving on parental leave for a 30-month parental leave, knowing that, and they were all informed, of course, but knowing that this was out of my hands. I did what I could. I informed leadership at the time not to sign. Again, I informed my direct report, the chief operating officer, Anita Wilson at that time, that this is not to be proceeded with. I did what I could. Far be it from me, in my employment with direct reports being counsel and the COO, the chief operating officer, to just circumnavigate them and go rogue in informational campaigns, because that's also, you're not able to do that in an employment setting. That's very sensitive and confidential information, and that, I trusted the leaders and the direct report I had to get that information out there if they were to take my advice. Again, I wasn't part of every closed door meeting with chief and council, so I did we really not have another financing option available or not at that time? It was hard for me to say. I was, given my role, I wasn't privy to every single conversation of financing. But from what I knew, myself and Anita Wilson, we were actively working on a refinancing agreement with the Bank of Montreal. Zachary Newman was our main point of contact with the Bank of Montreal. We were close. By the time the BFI loan got signed, we were very close.
Is there anything else that you want band members to know before the next band meeting?
Yeah, so one of the things that I shared at the Selkirk band meeting, and I'm comfortable sharing this on camera, is when the BFI loan agreement was being reviewed by leadership and signatures were going around and things like this. I don't know exactly which lending facility that was. That's another thing I want membership to know. The BFI loan, as we know it, there's multiple lending facilities involved. In fact, I could inform you all right now what lending facilities are involved. Let me just pull this up here.
Sure.
Okay. We have there was a $22 million lending facility with BFI. There was a $10.5 million lending facility. There was a $6 million lending facility. And honestly, Doug, that is the only lending facilities that I actually have a record of in my records and things. So when PwC receiver or the BFI claim says we owe around $100 million of principal and $70 million of interest, I'm not sure where that principal gap is at this time. But there's clearly other lending facilities in place, but that was all after my time. Mm-hmm. Now, so the BFI loan, it's multiple lending facilities. So whatever one was going around when I was in the room and it was getting signed, I will say this, that Councillor Wade Sutherland, councillor at the time, Wade Sutherland, did put down his pen and actually said something to the effect of, I don't understand what's going on. And then he did say verbatim that I do remember, I'd like Jordan to ask some questions on our behalf to explain this better for us. Were we about to run out of cash, Doug, at that time? At that exact moment, no. In fact, we were on a little bit of a recovery from the cash flow issues we had in the spring. Unfortunately, we've had tremendous cash flow issues for a decade or more perhaps. But as far as I know, when I first joined, we had tremendous cash flow issues. We were getting increases in our line of credit. Our accounts payables list went from $2 million, $3 million, $4 million, $5 million, on top of just paying our normal operating costs. So we still have a tremendous accounts payable list to this day, but we are working on payment plans with all our vendors. We're cash flow planning to settle all of our debts and accounts, and we're working on a management action plan actively. And so I do believe we're going to get out of this. It's just going to take. We need to settle with BFI. We need that off of our backs. We can't have any unknowns. We can't have any question marks heading into the future. We do need to refinance still. We've needed to refinance for about a decade. We need to refinance still, but we can't right now due to the BFI loan hanging over our heads. No one wants to refinance it with us due to BFI's claim against Peguis, which is just a tragedy for our nation because we can't even afford to bury our own dead, and yet we've been paying high-priced contractors and consultants for many years. Not anymore. We're not doing that anymore. I'm thankful again to Chief Bird and the council. They have done away with those high-priced contracts. So we've never been able to afford those, and yet we were paying them. We have, I won't say who, but we have one contractor that did get about $4 million over about a year and a half to 2 years time prior to new leadership taking over. So that's money we just can't afford. Again, we can't even afford to bury our own dead properly, which is just a tragedy for our nation, but it is something we're actively we're making steps and we're getting out of this hole we've been in.
Awesome. Okay.
All right, we are we're in the so we have our primary bank that we work with is Royal Bank of Canada. We also have a band account, a whole set of accounts set up with Bank of Montreal, just updating the membership that we're in the process of just fully closing off with Bank of Montreal. We only have a few accounts left. There's a bit of just formalities required to close off remaining accounts. So Royal Bank of Canada is still our primary bank that we're using and should be the only bank we're using very shortly here. Our books, we have a tremendous finance department. We have just amazing people in finance in Peguis. We have, the finance director, Laura Stevenson, she reports directly to my position as Chief Financial Officer. I just also want to say this on camera, I could get nothing done without Laura. Like nothing done in the books and things like that without Laura. She's just my right-hand person. She is so dependable, and I'm very thankful for her. And then reporting to Laura within the finance department, we have tremendous finance managers, finance clerks, payroll manager Roseanne, payroll clerks. We have everybody who's working so hard. Our books are getting caught up. We're very on top of things with our books now, and we're in that process now and that phase where we're able to start making things better, looking at efficiencies with bookkeeping and accounting and just finding good systems and ways of doing things. Budgets, we didn't even have budgets in the last fiscal year ending March 31st, 2023. We didn't even have budgets. So I'm happy to report that we have already started the budget process for the new upcoming fiscal year to begin in April 1st, 2024. All the various finance managers and program directors and managers have been hard at work getting work plans done, budgets done. We've informed Indigenous Services Canada of all of these things I've been mentioning. They're very, very pleased with the direction Peguis is heading. Our main FSO, our main contact at what's it called? Sorry, you might have to cut that. Our main person at Indigenous Services Canada, Shannon Poole, is very, very pleased with the direction Peguis is heading under the new leadership. And so we're going to have budgets in place for April 1st, and I'll be tasked with making sure everyone sticks to it, and I do enjoy that part of it. I'm not known as a very nice guy, but that's what's needed sometimes. So, what else can I say? Chief Peguis Investment Trust. So something that's very important for membership to always keep in mind is we haven't really utilized the function of the Chief Peguis Investment Trust and the associated entities that are under it properly. So we have the Chief Peguis Investment Trust, and then we have Peguis Development Corporation and Chief Peguis Investment Corporation. So there's supposed to be a nice little triangle going on there where the profits of Peguis Development Corporation and Chief Peguis Investment Corporation flow up to the trust each year, likely via an annual dividend of sorts, but that hasn't been the case. We have been without CPIT trustees. We were even without really a very active PDC board, and obviously everyone's aware of the litigation that the band has with Chief Peguis Investment Corporation at this time. I'd like to address all three things quickly to just update membership on all these things. But, and again, so Chief Peguis Investment Trust. So council is right now looking with legal at how to establish Chief Peguis Investment Trust trustees the way it's supposed to be. So we're scouring the documents, the trust agreement, things like this, and our lawyer's going to soon recommend how to exactly get council to, whether it's appoint or elect or whether it's a vote. We want to make sure we do things right. So we're working with legal counsel on all of these matters. So hopefully soon we'll have Chief Peguis Investment trustees in place. Regarding the two entities below Chief Peguis Investment Trust, we have the Peguis Development Corporation. So I'm happy to report that council's been hard at work with reviving the PDC board. So we now have 4 PDC board members, Billy Spence, Darren Bear, Barry Mann, and Lisa Stevenson. A 5th board member is soon to be selected as well, very likely tomorrow at a meeting with Chief and Council. This board is integral to the affairs of Peguis Development Corporation because they will be soon utilized to even be part of the interviews for the PDC General Manager, which interviews are set to take place next week. That's another key position for our nation because, again, unfortunately, many of the issues of Peguis Development Corporation and just operational affairs have fallen to band leadership, and that's just not how it's supposed to be. Again, you have Chief Peguis Investment Trust over here, Chief and Council over here, and any trust for that matter on that side. Chief and Council on this side, and a wall. And that's how we're trying to bring it back to that place where governance is separate from operations of the trusts, and our economic development initiatives are operating totally independently of whatever leadership is in at that time. Unfortunately, in the last several years, we've had those waters muddied very badly, very, very badly. And this is something that obviously legal's taking a look at, and many bad decisions were unfortunately made. Many losing businesses were somehow kept alive under PDC, and we, as a professional accountant, I can't fathom why that would even be a decision to be made. But to me, if a business is losing money, you close it up and start one that makes money. Touching on Chief Peguis Investment Corporation, I am also happy to report we are in a good working relationship right now with the Chief Peguis Investment Corporation board, as we do seek to resolve this litigation. Chief Bird and our team are all of the sort of opinion of why fight amongst ourselves. So clearly this fight was started under the prior leadership, but it's a fight that we don't necessarily want. We're taking a good look at this with legal. I do believe that the CPIC board is willing to do the right thing, whatever that right thing presents itself as being. Same with leadership of Chief and Council. I believe that all parties are soon going to do what's best regarding these assets, these buildings, in terms of best protecting them for our nation against the PwC receivership with the BFI claim, and just ongoing on what to do with the rental monies and what to do with future investments. What vehicle do we use for future investments, things like this. So we're actively reaching resolutions regarding these things. And one thing that the Chief Peguis Investment Corporation board has been informed of is that we do require their audits in order to make an informed decision as leadership, as Chief and Council and executive management of the nation. So they're hard at work, in fact, working with our auditors as well to just patch those missing gaps and question marks. And so I do hope that there's 3 outstanding audits of CPIC are done this year, at which point we can take a real active approach in a strategy and a solution that works for both parties. Just to touch back to PDC, so the reason that there's many issues that seem to be presenting themselves regarding gas stations and vendors requiring payment, all under PDC, is largely due, again, to just no one's actively in PDC until recently. So the chain of events that had to happen was this PDC board gets revived, the PDC general manager gets hired next week. We're going to support that person with finance people and any other resources, quite frankly, that they require. The band is not going to leave PDC high and dry. We're going to support them all year, however we need to, with resources, with financials, with whatever, to get them out of the messes that they have found themselves in, that we all inherited as new leadership and executive management. But I'm confident that it's just a step-by-step process at this point to get it all figured out. At which point I will, as CFO of Peguis, will be recommending to the board of PDC a very intense look at the businesses that are making money. Support those ones. Any businesses that have been losing money for the last 3-4 years, probably time to drop those businesses and wind them up and dissolve them. So we can't sustain as a nation to just support losing entities, losing businesses anymore. We have to start making money independently as a nation. We can never, I believe, look at federal funding as a guarantee, a home run. We have to earn our own way as well as a nation on route to self-government one day perhaps, and just not be so dependent on the crown. We have to earn our own living like we did for millennia on this continent, and I do believe we're going to get there soon. I can update on the financial administration law. We, Chief and Council, took a word-by-word review of the financial administration law that we've had in effect since 2016. We made many revisions in the fall of 2023, this last fall. We sent them off to the Financial Management Board, and they've been vetted and approved by the Financial Management Board, the FMB. We've received our file back now, and we received our compliance approval letter as well, saying that this new revised FAL is updated and good to go. I'm working, Pam's our CAO. Pam and I are working with FMB right now to line up dates for when they will come out and present our FAL to membership, both in Selkirk, in Peguis, and one presentation as well to all staff members. So it's good, very important for us all to understand our financial administration law, as it is, it actually trumps policies. All policies will be derived from the financial administration law. The financial administration law is very important, as not only it keeps us by law as a nation to proper financial practices. You asked earlier, Doug, how do we prevent another BFI loan debacle? The financial administration law is it. In that we can embed policies and laws where things cannot get signed, big financial agreements cannot get signed without perhaps even member consent, perhaps, and certainly legal sign-off, as chief financial officer sign-off. I would even like to build in where our active auditors take a good hard look at as well, as the auditors are also CPAs. So we can certainly prevent a debacle like this from ever happening again. One other thing with regards to the financial administration law, now that we have our compliance approval letter back, I'm excited that Pam and I are going to be implementing every little step, every literal step of that financial administration law, every line item we're going to be implementing over this year. And council, again, none of this can happen without chief and council. They set the tone from the top down. I said at Selkirk Band Me, I could cry. I won't allow myself to, but I'm so thankful for their approach to let the experts be the experts and delegate accordingly. Let your legal be legal. Let your economic development people be economic development people. Let your finance people be your finance people. And let your directors be your directors. Let boards and committees do their thing. This is Chief and Council's approach, and I'm very, very thankful for it. It's the way our nation was always meant to function, and it's a true democracy. It's nothing but a democracy now, and I'm so thankful for that. I'm happy to report for Fisher Ambulance that in the last few months, Chief and Council and I have been actively working with Shared Health, a provincial health organization, for a service purchase agreement, so an SPA, in which they're planning to provide the nation up to perhaps between $3 and $4 million to go towards our Fisher Ambulance services. Up until this point, unfortunately, again, under a situation we've all inherited from prior times, is that the band has been footing the bill for our Fisher Ambulance services. So we've since then, under Chief Bird's leadership, we've been working with Shared Health to establish this SPA. We're very, very close. They're very excited, as this is actually going to set a precedent for First Nations all across Manitoba. No one should be footing the bill for their own ambulance and fire services. This is a provincial responsibility, and the same rights that anyone here in Winnipeg has to an ambulance service should apply to us as Peguis First Nation members, and it should not come at the cost of our own dollar. So I'm very thankful to Shared Health for really, truly working with us and being excited to help us and support us in this way. And we're very close to that. I hope to have updates on that soon. Regarding all of our housing and flood issues, this is obviously equal to the intensity, or equal to the immensity of a matter as the BFI matter is. So is our housing and flood issues. We are actively pursuing now a project manager. So something that has always, I believe that one of the reasons we have very limited housing going on for years, and the flood issues seem to continue and nothing seems to change, is because it takes a team to solve these issues, and to what's happening is now we're dealing with compounded issues of housing and flood issues for several years past, and that can be no one person's position. That's just, there's not enough time in a week for any one person to actively look at these things and solve these things. So what Chief Bird has identified, and leadership is in support, is having a project manager in place. Now, the project manager won't be just one individual. It will be a project manager company. We're in the process of finalizing that agreement, and that will soon be announced. But The project manager is, in their scope, is actually going to be to finish all housing projects, truly finish. And their contract is not over until every last house that was supposed to be built is built, every last flood dollar is received, and because there's a symmetry between housing and flood with all of this, every last report that is withholding funds is filed with Indigenous Services Canada, and yeah, so we believe that this will actually happen in the next 3 years, that with the signing of this project manager contract and the proper cash flow attributed to this, we believe there's a plan forward to achieving all of our builds and getting our flood mitigation efforts permanently solved, so that we're not flooding every year. Their legal counsel is going to be active working with this project manager. Myself will be actively working with this project manager, as well as Billy Spence with Lands, housing director, currently Annette Spence-Meaches. We're hiring on an emergency management coordinator, which will primarily be helping with flood mitigation efforts as well every year. But again, no one of those positions was able to ever solve all these challenges. What we really need is a group to work with all of us and focus strictly on this with a team, because engineers are going to be involved. Again, legal is involved, lands is involved, housing is involved, ISK is involved. Like, it's going to be a tremendous undertaking, but this is what's always been needed. Okay, regarding human resources, we've recently hired a new HR director, and that person will be announced very shortly. Regarding our chief operating officer vacancy, we are actively pursuing hiring that position. We are just waiting on a few final inputs from chief and council on exactly how that process should go. We want to make sure we're following policy on all matters. So I'm thankful for council for that, chief and council for that. We also have so overall, as many of our current staff know, but I'd like to relate to membership, is that we've retained Legacy Bose on for our HR resources. Legacy Bose is a professional HR human resources company here in Manitoba, and they work with many First Nations, and they're now working with Peguis, and they have many CHRPs, Certified Human Resource Professionals. These are not to overtake fully our HR department, but rather to be a supplementary and ongoing resource for our internal hirings within HR, so that we're always just staying by the book, going according to policy, going according to provincial labor standards, and all of the above. And so we want to adhere to the highest standards of HR as a nation now. And Chief and Council are in support of this, and it's just a wonderful thing. I'd also like to take this opportunity on behalf of Council to thank Gerald McCorster for the many years of wonderful hard work he's done. And Gerald, we do thank you for your much hard work. And we're building our HR department up. We're increasing its capacity. We're going to hire a few more HR specialists and generalists to work with the HR director, and again also with Legacy Bose in support with this HR director, so that we're just covered at all times. We're super excited to unroll a whole new HR system. We're going to have an HR system in place where it's not going to be, all the HR information is not retained on any one person's laptop or any one person's mind. It's going to be in a system where any person can come and corroborate what's in that system and quickly pull information from it in a centralized way, servicing all programs and departments. Another thing that is important for our Chief and Council right now as a pressing priority is to take a good detailed look at the Peguis First Nation Real Estate Trust and the Meadows property. Again, in no way, shape, or form is any blame being laid or any allegations made in any way right now. It's simply just Chief and Council and myself and our executive team, and on behalf of membership, just want to make sure we are always having the right information flowing, and that the right that we're just ensuring an age of accountability now across all trusts, all entities, all corporations, all directors and managers, and myself and Pam in our executive office positions as well. We just want full accountability and transparency. So we are actively proceeding with wanting the Peguis First Nation real estate trustees to fulfill the requirements of Section 11.2 in their trust agreement, which warrants an annual audit. To date, there have been no annual audits since year ending December 31st, 2021. And we do require audits as a membership to continue to make informed decisions and buy-in on matters such as development of meadows, land, and things like this. So we do want to make sure that we have all the right facts in place before anything proceeds. So it's simply annual audits provide a lot of much needed information, and we do require those audits at this time. So we're excited to have those and then take a good hard look at what makes sense for the nation and what doesn't. And again, whatever is not providing proper return and economic benefit to our members ultimately should not be pursued. And so but whatever does provide return and economic benefit to our members should be pursued. And so things that don't really benefit our members are long-term plays that are 40 years away from making cash flow, and $20 million in Assiniboine Downs is doing nothing for our members. Not one of us has received $1 of dividend as membership from that investment, if you can call it that. So really, we want to take a good hard look. Whatever's right, let's keep it going. Whatever's wrong, let's fix it. Let's get our money back. So regarding the Meadows property, again, we don't know anything at this time until audits are released. And I do encourage all membership to always ensure our trusts, all of our trusts, the surrender claim, the TLE, the Peguis First Nation Real Estate Trust, and the Chief Peguis Investment Trust are adhering to their trust agreements, and annual audits are being filed and provided to us, and that we as membership can hold everybody accountable, including our own leadership at all times. Ultimately, we must all remember that our nation of Peguis is our membership. It is us. It's we the people.
That's good.
Yeah, that's about it.